Well, here it is summer, and all of my students are at home enjoying their summer, and I'm in the classroom, and it's super empty. I could turn the camera around and kind of show you everything's packed up, and it certainly is lonely with y'all not here. Let me turn around and see. Yeah, you can see me now. So I found this book, and I've been picking up books, and a lot of teachers kind of discard and throw away their old books just to make room in the classroom. But then I saw the title, and I started looking at the story, and I was like, I can't throw that away. You know, it's such a good story. I looked at the pictures, and the title is Georgia Music, and this book, the setting is in a town just like we live in here in Georgia. And I think it's going to be a really good book for you to make a self-to-text connection. I think you'll really be able to see some things in here that reminds you of something that you've seen or experienced here in our beautiful state of Georgia. So let's read it together. And you know I won't do any of the music and all those distracting things that when other people read stories, they have the music playing in the background, and it's really hard on kids to just really focus on the reading. But let's dig in. Georgia Music, it was written by Helen Griffith, and the pictures are done by James Stevenson. And it starts off right here with a little old man sitting on his front porch. An old man lived by himself in a cabin near a railroad tracks in the state of Georgia. Now, I have some railroad tracks down the road from my house. Maybe you do too. He spent his winters doing odd jobs and watching the trains go by and thinking about old times. But as soon as it was spring, he put on his straw hat, pulled his hoe out from under the porch, and chopped out a good-sized patch of garden beside the cabin. Then, all summer long, he worked in that garden, growing collards and melons and black-eyed peas. And if you look right here, he's even got himself a clothesline. I still love to hang my clothes up on a clothesline. And there he is working in his garden.
Pardon the interruption. Miss Mobley, if you could bring your keys to Miss Ward on the first grade hall. Miss Mobley, please bring your keys to Miss Ward on the first grade hall. Thank you.
Well, one summer, the old man's daughter took the train from Baltimore to Georgia for a visit, and she took her own daughter along with her. After a few days, she had to get back to Baltimore, but she left the girl there with her grandfather for the whole long summer. The old man never said how he felt about that, but he didn't seem to mind. The girl didn't mind either. She liked it right away. She liked the hot garden patch with its green rows of seedlings, and she liked the little cabin that shook when the trains thundered by. When she stopped being shy of her grandfather, she liked him too. She followed him around his garden while he worked, and sometimes she stepped on the little green seedlings. But if the old man noticed, he never said anything. There they are sitting on the front porch. He found her an old straw hat and a hoe that wasn't too heavy and showed her how to chop weeds. It was hard work, and at first she was clumsy at it, but the old man said he didn't know how he'd ever done without her. They would work all morning, and their hoes going chink, chink up and down the rows, while a mockingbird flew from fence post to fence post, flapping its wings and singing noisy songs at them. "Sassy old bird," the man would say, and the girl would say it too. "Sassy old bird," and they would look at each other and laugh out loud. At noon, they sat under a tree and ate their lunch, and then they would lie back on the grass and rest. The old man would pull a straw hat over his face, and the girl would make a pillow out of hers and lie looking up at the leaves and the sky. It was so quiet that they could hear the leaves touching each other, and the bumblebees bumbling, and the crickets and grasshoppers whirring and scratching, and every now and then the old man would nod his head under his straw hat and say, "Now that's music." Then they would go to sleep under the tree while the summer sounds went on and on in their ears and in their brains. I really like this part because this summer, if you have not, go get you a towel, put it on the ground and lay down up under a big shade tree and just look up at the branches and just listen. It's such a relaxing and beautiful thing to do. In the evenings, the two of them sat on the rickety porch steps, and the old man played tunes on his mouth organ. He knew a lot of songs, and he taught the words to the girl so she could sing with the music. The old man said he was really playing for the crickets and the grasshoppers because they made music for him in the daytime. He said they liked it, and the girl thought so too. And at night, they went to sleep hearing the katydids and the tree frogs and the chuckwills widows singing, and some nights the mockingbird called nearly all night long, and the girl would smile to herself and whisper, "Sassy old bird." That's a harmonica right here, boys and girls, and that's what he meant by his mouth organ. You should pick you one up. They're really fun to play. When September came, the girl didn't want to go home, and she could see that her grandfather was sorry too. Her mother promised that she could come back next summer, and they had to be satisfied with that. There's Grandpa waving goodbye. But the next summer wasn't the same. The girl and her mother knew something was wrong as soon as they saw the cabin. Weeds were growing through the steps, and a wild rose bush had almost taken over the porch. They found the old man sitting in a chair with a quilt over his lap and his eyes closed. "Oh no, this is where I stopped reading before, boys and girls, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I sure hope it's not bad." "I ain't sick," he told them, "just mighty tired." But they closed up the cabin and took him back with them to Baltimore. The girl knew he was sicker than he said, or he would never have gone with them. There was nothing wrong with their home in Baltimore, but the old man wasn't happy there. He sat in a chair looking worried and sad, and the girl knew he was thinking about that old cabin and the garden that didn't get planted that year. She tried to talk to him, but nothing seemed to interest him. And it just wasn't like it had been in good old Georgia. One day the girl got out the old man's mouth organ and put it in his hand. "Play me a tune, Granddaddy," she said, but he just held the mouth organ in his hand and looked at it. The girl took it back and put her lips on it and blew. And when the old man heard the sound, his eyes opened wide, and he looked right at her, something he never did anymore. So she made more sounds come out of the mouth organ, and then she began blowing in and out, finding out how it worked, and at last she was able to play a little tune on it.
Could all SLPs please report to the admin conference room? All SLPs, please come to the admin conference room. Thank you.
Did you like that, Granddaddy? She asked, but she already knew he did. From then on, the girl sat with her grandfather, and every day they practiced playing the mouth organ, which is really a harmonica, until she began to be good at it. She taught herself all the old songs that her grandfather had played for her, and she played them over and over. And one day, after she had played everything she knew, she found herself playing a different kind of music and making up brand new songs, except it wasn't exactly music. They weren't real songs. They were the sounds she remembered from that Georgia summer with the cricket chirps and the tree frog trills and the bee buzzes and the bird twitters. She shut her eyes and she swayed back and forth, and she could almost feel the hot sun on her back and the hoe handle in her hands. For a while, it was like being right back in Georgia. Then the old man gave a little chuckle, and the girl heard him whisper to himself, "Sassy old bird." So she said it too, "Sassy old bird." And then the girl and her grandfather looked at each other and they laughed out loud. Boys and girls, let me see. Yeah, I miss y'all. I love that book. How can I throw this book away? Now I'm going to give you some homework. I want you, get a towel or a blanket, go outside and lay down up under a tree and just listen to the sounds of nature. Call your grandfather, your grandmother, make some memories, and have the best summer. And remember, I love you so much, and I miss you. Go to the library, check out some books. Even an old book can be a good book, just like Georgia music. I love y'all. Bye.